Hello, team players. So, no doubt some of you have heard about Hasbro and their disgusting thing they've done. But for those of you that don't know, Hasbro and WOTC just laid off over 1,000 employees. This is one of the most greedy and self-centered moves I've ever seen from a company. And the very definition of what is wrong here in the States. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Hasbro specifically and how they're laying off way too many employees. They call it a freaking last resort. But we all know that's not their last resort. Their last resort is to spend their own money to save the company. Their CEO made $9.4 million in total last year. If their CEO would take a pay cut and go down to $1 million over the next year, they wouldn't have to lay off 56 employees. And that's just their CEO. I'm sure there's other executives at that company who could take a pay cut, and then they might not have to lay off anybody. And the other thing is, they didn't have to do it 2 weeks before Christmas. That's what really makes this a greedy move. Doing it right before Christmas is like absolutely evil. They could have easily waited until January after the holidays. But no, they had to, quote unquote, steal Christmas. And if you think Dungeons & Dragons was exempt from this, you are dead wrong. They definitely fired some art directors. Why have art directors when you can just have AI make the art and then have certain artists touch things up? Instead of actual good artwork. And the other thing is, Mark Seifter said in a tweet that when he was at Wizards of the Coast, Christmas layoffs were a regular thing. Yeah. This could be just the beginning. Talk about a greedy move, but I'm really not all that surprised. If you've lived in the States for as long as I have, you shouldn't be. There are so many greedy moves that mega companies like Hasbro can get away with in the US that this is just the next step. Flat out. Really. With AI and everything, the real danger of AI is that these companies will use it to replace human workers. It's not that AI will take over everything. That's just in movies. I know that Hasbro has to do something. Otherwise, their business is going to go down the tubes and people will lose jobs anyway. But they don't have to do this. For God's sakes, their stock went down 20% even with the Dungeons & Dragons movie. Gee, I wonder why that is. Meanwhile, their biggest competitor, Mattel, has skyrocketed because of the Barbie movie. Oh, and by the way, they also laid off like 800 people in January during the whole OGL nonsense stuff. So, yeah. So this year they have laid off about 2,000 employees, which is a massive number. And what does Paizo do during this time? Not only do they actually pay their employees a decent wage, but they actually found the money to give $16,000 to charity 2 weeks before Christmas. Instead of laying off 1,100 people, plus the 800 from earlier. I have a business degree, so I understand how businesses are supposed to work. And Paizo is doing it right. The thing you have to understand about business is you've got to think about the long term and the short term. These big companies like Hasbro and WOTC and like Walmart, they only think about the short term. How can they fill their own pockets? Paizo clearly thinks about the long term. Otherwise, they wouldn't put their content up for free on Archives of Nethys. When you think about making a quality product and about your actual employees, overall, your business does so much better. Flat out. At least that's the theory anyway. Hasbro really is the Grinch stealing Christmas this year. Absolutely. But the real difference between the story and real life is that Hasbro's heart won't grow 2 sizes. Us as consumers and employees have to tell them that we won't take this anymore. From them and any other company that tries to do evil stuff like this. And it starts with a game like Pathfinder 2e. If we can learn how to work together in a game, then we can learn how to do it in real life. And overall, that's what this channel is trying to teach you. I'm sorry this video was so negative, but I had to cover this because it was the perfect chance for me to cover the other goal of this channel, besides teaching you guys Pathfinder 2e, which is teaching you teamwork. Not just in the game, but in real life as well. But if you guys want to see me get back to Pathfinder 2e content, you can absolutely subscribe to this channel. And you can leave a like on this video if you believe what I'm saying. If you want a video on Pathfinder 2e content right now, you can check out this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.